work.
Beautiful summer day here in New York City, a perfect day for baseball, and Robin Ventura brings his first-place White Sox into town for a 4-game set. It's time for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Chicago White Sox in the first game of a 4-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Lou Piniella and Paul O'Neill, I'm Michael Kay. All good for the Yankees in terms of wins. They've won 5 in a row. They've won 15 of their last 18, but yesterday was a rough day despite getting a victory over the Indians. Why? Because they lost their 2 aces. CC Sabathia, groin strain, he's out, probably misses 2 or 3 starts. Andy Pettitte, much more serious, a broken fibula, and he is going to be out probably until September. So, Lou, the question is, how do you rebound from that? And if you're a manager, how do you deal with that?
Well, you pray a lot, Michael. Truthfully, there's no clear answer to this thing. It's a tough predicament for the Yankees because, first of all, you lose your ace. Then you lose an outstanding left-hand pitcher. Here at Yankee Stadium, you need left-hand pitching. But there are 2 answers. One, that Nova, Hughes, Kuroda, and Garcia pitch well to take the pressure off the young kid Warren, and also that the Yankee pitching staff stay away from big innings. They give up a run here, a run there, the Yankee offense can deal with it.
All right, let's take a look at how they maneuvered the roster with the 2 DL stints. Sabathia and Pettitte go on the DL. Sabathia 15-day, Pettitte 60-day. Warren was called up. He's going to start tomorrow. Garcia is going to start Monday. Igarashi was called up from AAA. He'll go into the bullpen. So for Warren, and then if they call up David Phelps a little bit later on, it's an opportunity for 2 kids. You've seen this happen before.
What happens all the time. Not everybody's a first-round draft pick like Derek Jeter and destined to become a superstar. Most guys come from the minor leagues. They get their opportunities when somebody goes down. There's no better opportunity to come pitch for the New York Yankees as a pitcher. This offense is scoring a ton of runs. It's a great opportunity for both of them.
Well, the sky is not falling, but it didn't get any easier yesterday, that's for sure. As Lou Piniella said, this young man has to step up. Ivan Nova has been pitching great. Paul O'Neill will come back and explain what he's doing next on Yes. Game for the Chicago White Sox, it is going to be Dylan Axelrod, 0-1, 4.85. He's in the rotation for the injured Philip Humber. Ivan Nova goes to the Yankees 9-2 with a 4.25 ERA. Nova's warming up right now. Let's take a look at the White Sox starting lineup that he is going to face. White Sox coming in first place at 40-35. They will lead off their center fielder, Alejandro De Aza. Kevin Youkilis, the third baseman, will bat second. Batting third and DHing, Adam Dunn. Paul Konerko's at first base cleaning up. Batting fifth, playing right field, Alex Rios. A.J. Brzezinski will catch, will bat sixth. Batting seventh, playing left field, Diane Viciero. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, will bat 8th, and batting 9th and playing second base is Gordon Beckham. So Nova is ready, 9-2, and Diaz is ready. Now let's do it here in the Bronx. The first pitch is outside, and we are underway. Marty Foster is the home plate umpire. And he says he went around the count 1-1. .289, 4 home runs and 29 runs batted in. A little bit of a slump though. 13 for his last 61 as Nova way out of the zone at 2-1.
Michael Diaz gives the White Sox some speed out of the leadoff hole. He leads the team with 14 stolen bases. Excellent center fielder. Great throwing arm.
This is a White Sox team that everybody thought was rebuilding and was probably going to finish last. New manager who never managed before, Robin Ventura, but they are surprising everybody. They're on top in the Central, and they went out and they got Kevin Youkilis. That one is laced into left center field. It's a base hit for Diaz. So as Lou said, he is a threat to steal. Now let's take a look at the numbers on Ivan Nova. 9-2 with a 4.25 ERA. 91 innings, 100 hits. That's a little too many. 80 strikeouts, 282 opponents batting average. Let's take a look now at the McDonald's pitcher scatter report, Paul.
Well, Michael, if you didn't listen to the game yesterday, you will be quizzed. It's a music theme this week. Night moves, 7-1, and then the night game starts. Little help from my friends. The bullpen has been unbelievable for Nova this year, pitching at a 0.51 ERA, and double trouble gives up a ton of extra base hits. 29 doubles, 5 triples, 49 extra base hits, the most among all major league pitchers.
And he just deals a strike to the newly acquired Kevin Youkilis with the White Sox, 5-12. Those are his numbers with the Red Sox and the White Sox. The ascension of Will Middlebrooks made him expendable in Boston. And the White Sox were getting absolutely no production whatsoever out of third base. And they decided to take a flyer on Kevin Youkilis.
Yeah, they've really upgraded themselves at third base with Youkilis' experience. Played in postseason, winning type ball player.
Runner goes. Throw to second. Oh, they got him. Great throw by Chris Stewart.
You know, Chris Stewart has had some spot starts because of Russell Martin in his back, and he's come together offensively, had some good games. And right here, you see how quick he gets rid of the ball. Perfect throw. Not even close. Good job. Nothing like a leadoff single, and if you're a pitcher, you're thrown out stealing a base. Michael, so by the way, do you know any of the song titles tonight?
I knew them. The first one was what?
Night
Mood, Bob Seger.
Okay. Little help from my friends. That's easy because that was done twice.
Right.
It was also done by Joe Cocker. Go
okay.
ahead. Double Trouble.
I don't know that one.
With that, Lou.
I'm sorry.
It's Elvis Presley.
Double Trouble.
That's right.
Who's giving you this stuff?
Huh?
Why don't you sing it?
No, we had enough of that from you yesterday. 2 out of 3 is not bad. You're on a roll.
Also, Leonard Skinner did Double Trouble. Just thought I'd tell you that. Grounded to third. Chavez backhand fires and gets Youkilis for the second out. I want to take a look at the Yankee defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, it's Ibanez, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. Infield, Chavez. A-Rod's the DH tonight. Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira third to first. Stewart behind the plate. Nova's on the mound. So Martin played yesterday. The collision at home plate, he said, had nothing to do with it. And he feels fine. But Joe Girardi said, I didn't like the way he was finishing his swing yesterday. He's been battling a sore lower back. So they give Stewart another start.
And again, Michael, Stewart's done a good job. Got some hits. I mean, the guys that have had their spot starts during this little stretch, Dwayne Wise, I mean, they've done a great job.
Here's Adam Dunn. Adam Dunn right now is on pace to strike out 260 times this year, which would shatter the single season mark, which is held by Mark Reynolds of the Orioles. But he's getting back to hitting home runs. He has 24 homers and 57 runs batted in. So he's tied for second in home runs, first in walks, and first in strikeouts, 121.
3 hits yesterday, but broke a 0 for 24 streak. So I mean, that's the time. Lou, when you used to fix that lineup card up, I mean, there were certain guys, Kevin Youthlis, you know what you're getting every day. Adam Dunn, you know what you're getting. You're getting strikeouts, but every once in a while you're getting one out in the seats.
Well, what they want from Adam, obviously, is home runs and RBI production, and he's given them that. And I was talking to a couple of the White Sox people, and he came to camp this year in better shape, and he worked on the tee for the first time, and it helped him. T-ball.
T-ball. I don't know. Are you a big tee guy?
I know. When I played, there was no such thing as T-ball.
Konerko takes a strike.
We had the leaded bat.
Yeah.
And that was it as far as bats were concerned.
You didn't work off a T-ball?
Well, you know, when I used to work a lot, it was in the cage, and a lot of those days were under Lou's supervision also in Cincinnati. When you work, I like to see live pitching coming in.
I agree with you.
Standing in there, seeing the ball, that was part of of hitting, is tracking the baseball.
Yeah, I never liked too much cage work or flip drills, those sort of things. Get some live pitching out there, take a few swings. And
Konerko swings and misses. He's really been struggling. He's now 1 for his last 18 with that strikeout. No runs a hit, 1 man left. Yankees coming to bat. Rod, and we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off. Batting second and playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez DHs tonight. He'll hit third. Cleaning up, second baseman Robinson Cano. Mark Teixeira's at first base. He'll bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing right field, Nick Swisher. Raul Ibanez in left field hits seventh. The number 8 hitter, third baseman Eric Chavez. 3 ribbies in yesterday's win. And Chris Stewart behind the plate will bat ninth. And Dylan Axelrod filling in the rotation with Philip Umber with a sore shoulder on the DL. Here are the numbers on Axelrod. 4 games, 2 starts. This is his third. 15 hits in 13 innings, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. Opponents in 273 against him. Let's take a look at the McDonald's pitcher's scouting report.
Stay tuned, Michael. You're hot so far. Knocked 3 times. He's making his 3rd start of the season. He's 0-1 with a 4.85.
Tony Orlando.
Not bad. Big time. All of his success has been in the minor leagues. He was 26 and 14. He's in the big leagues.
Peter Gabriel.
Impressive. One is the loneliest number, making his first career start versus the Yankees.
How about 3 dog nights?
Somebody's cheating. No. Get out of here. Somebody is in your ear.
No.
Impressive.
Here's Derek Jeter to lead it off. Derek had yesterday off. A rare day off for the captain. And he takes a strike. Doesn't throw too hard, Axelrod. Mixes and matches, changes speeds, hits the corners.
Michael, you said it, and Lou, you know it. When you had a guy out there that has to pitch perfect, very tough. I mean, if he makes mistakes, you're going to see balls in the seats. Does not have the type of control that he can get away with when he misses.
Especially with this powerful Yankee left-handed lineup.
Recently, you've had some guys, Swisher, been hitting home runs. Teixeira has been hitting home runs, and Cano is just on a tear.
He's on fire, yes. Well, he's going to be awfully have to be awfully fine with his pitches. Change speeds, uses changeup. But again, he starts getting the ball up a little bit in the zone. You're right. He can get tattooed.
You know, this is important. If he pitches ahead, you see him 0-2, you can get by some of these Yankee hitters. If you start nitpicking and getting behind these guys and you don't have good stuff, you will take a beat.
It's a fun lineup to watch.
Depends what side you're on.
Well, I'm up here.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, right?
Slow roll to the short. Ramirez charges. And he gets Jeter for the first out.
So much has been said about the White Sox and why they're a better team. And up the middle, Ramirez, tremendous defensive player. Center fielder, good center fielder,
yes.
And Diaz, second baseman, and Beckham. I mean, defensively up the middle, such an important part of the game. And right now, White Sox, one of the better up the middle in all the American League.
Outfield is athletic. Rios, the move to right field has been good for him, both defensively and offensively. The kid in left field has got a great throwing arm. It's a nice outfield, athletic.
The 1-0 to Granderson, grounded foul.
And you're right, they turned that double play, and they've got good range up the middle. And Brzezinski's the old fox there behind home plate.
He's one of those guys that you probably love playing with him, but as an opposing
he gets under
player,
your nerves, doesn't he?
Yeah, as an opposing player, he wasn't one of your favorite guys, but boy, he's done a good job for these guys since he's been here.
Were you with the Cubs when your catcher punched him in the face to ran a ball? Was that you?
Don't sugarcoat it, Michael.
It was Michael Barrett, I think.
That was before.
Yeah, okay.
He punched him in the face.
He did.
That's
the only way to say it. He punched him in the face. The collision at home plate. Pitches inside, 3-2.
I think that was Michael Barrett.
Yeah, Michael
the
Barrett.
Cub catcher.
Yeah.
That punched Brzezinski, yes.
That was before you.
Before me. Thank God.
Let's take a look at the White Sox defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, Viciedo, Diaza, and Rios. That's left to right. Youkilis, Ramirez, Beckham, and Konerko. Third to first. Brzezinski's behind the plate, and Dylan Axelrod is on the mound. Here's A-Rod. A modest 3-game hitting streak, but he does have just 8 hits in his last 41 at-bats, hitting .266.
Well, with the Yankees losing their ace and Pettit, Sabathia, perfect time for A-Rod to get hot with the bat and start carrying this team some.
Girardi's done a great job of giving these guys days off. So Alex Rodriguez has had some off days. He's had some days where he DHs. Now he's at third base. And I agree, Lou. This is the time of the year where
runner goes, throw to second, not in time. Stolen base for Granderson.
Time of the year that you come to the ballpark, it's hot, even in batting practice. The ball flies. You see Curtis Granderson gets a good jump. Brzezinski, tough pitch, low to handle. Pretty good throw, though.
Did a nice job also looking back to see if the ball had been put in play. You don't see base runners doing that too often.
You know, I kind of hold my breath now in this slow-mo because we've had so many calls that shouldn't have been called, but he was safe, got in there. Oh. Ooh, that's the one that kind of frustrates you when you're a hitter, when it's just down and away, nothing you can really do with it as a hitter. It's the call.
Well, you take it.
You darn sure take it.
Yeah, unless you got 2 strikes.
Swing and a miss.
One thing's for sure, the more pitches you make a pitcher throw, the more prone he is to make mistakes.
Your guy took a lot of first pitches hitting? I don't really remember.
I didn't take that many. No, I really did.
Some guys love to go up and just take that. I hate it. I hate to just take that first pitch right down the middle. And don't think the pitchers don't know the guys that are taking that first pitch.
Yeah, I look for fastball. And if I got a good fastball to hit,
was letting it go.
That's it. don't think Alex is going to get a fastball here. A little sinker.
This is the type of pitcher that Alex can handle. We talked the other day with Masterson from Cleveland. You know, throws 95 with that ball moving in on his hand. That's a tough at bat. But this is a guy right here that doesn't have overpowering stuff. It allows him to get his arms extended. He can handle everything he throws up there.
And as long as you don't try to pull him, too. Hit the ball left center, right center.
3-2. Swing and a miss. Waved right through it. 2 away. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 88 degrees, 37% humidity, not much wind, and the forecast is that it's partly cloudy.
You've been practicing, Michael.
I said tea right?
You said tea right tonight. You had no accent tonight.
I don't understand how you can have an accent on a T.
Well, you did the first 2 nights, and I just wanted to bring. I'm glad I brought it to your attention because you went home and practiced.
I kept saying tea, and Jody said, "What are you doing?"
Getting ready for tomorrow's game.
Here's red hot Robinson Cano, 6 for his last 12, and he has 10 home runs in the month of June. There's a strike.
Boy, Cano, it's fun to watch hit. It makes it look so easy when he's hot. Uses tremendous. Uses the whole field to hit with. Uses weight shift approach to hitting, and his swing is short and compact. It's
getting better and better. He's one of the true hitters that really most pitchers can find weaknesses and holes. And if Robbie's using the whole field and he doesn't become pull happy, he really doesn't have a hole to pitch to. And that. Yesterday, you said, for example, he takes an outside pitch and hits it off the State Farm sign. Tremendous power, and he's getting better every day.
And that's after he was brushed back.
Right.
That was a mistake by Jimenez.
Granderson at second. By the way, in the last 4 games, something that had been a problem for the Yankees all year has not been a problem. 11 for 27 with runners in scoring position, 407, and Cano's picked up a couple of those. 1-1. Grounded to second. Right there is Beckham. And he will get Cano for the final out of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the second inning. Alex Rios will lead off against Ivan Noble. Powered by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By J&R Music and Computer World. And by the professionals at your Tri-State GMC dealer. Why just go when you can go pro? So we go to the second inning. And Alex Rios, A.J. Przinsky, and Dayan Visayedo come up against North.
Michael, you ever heard of Coffee, Alabama?
No.
This is where Alex Rios, I'm looking up the scoreboard, where he's born. Coffee, Alabama. Huh?
Sounds like someplace Al Leiter would live.
Yeah. double coffee.
Or Red Bull, New Jersey. Rios, a nice bounce back year. Last year with the White Sox, he had 227. He was always thought of as a future great player with Toronto, but then it kind of fell apart.
Hey, he's an all-around player. I mean, he's got decent speed. He's got decent power. He's a good outfielder. He's leading the league in triples right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of things he can do on the baseball field. It's keeping him, in the game every day.
Well, the one thing impressive about the White Sox lineup, they're getting good RBI contribution from the whole lineup. You got Beckham in the 9th hole with 32 RBIs. You got Ramirez with 34 in the 8th hole. Rios has got 42 and on down the line. So they're getting production. And that's what this team has to do offensively.
Ivan Nova, you see early, he's gotten to that slider, getting ahead in the count, striking out pitches with the slider tonight. He gets that slider, that breaking ball over. He's tough. Right off the outside corner.
Tough pitch to hit.
Here's A.J. Przinsky, 35-year-old. And he's won a World Series with the White Sox. Here's a ground ball to second. 2 away. Let's check out tonight's MetLife stat of the game. Tonight is the first time since August of 2003 that the Yankees are playing the White Sox, and both teams are in first place. And not only are the Yankees in first place, they have the best record in baseball.
I mean, who keeps track of that? Who even keeps these stats? Oh, Snoopy. I saw it on the screen. Sorry. Should have known.
Snoopy now works for Elias. Oh, Snoopy. Viciedo takes high, 2-0.
Well, I think the Yankees will maintain their hold here in the American League East. I'm not so sure that the White Sox will in the Central.
We talked about that. I mean, the Detroit Tigers at some point you would think would start to play much better, but they have that great starting pitcher. They got Justin Verlander, but then it does drop off a little bit. Fister's back and he does help. White Sox do have a few guys that can give you an opportunity to win. I mean, they got some good starting. Sales pitching well for him. Peavy's pitching well, so they do have opportunities to win. Offensively, things are going well for them. Is that going to continue all year? We'll have to wait and see.
Here's the 3-1.
Well, Detroit added Cecil Fielder, actually.
Prince.
Prince. Well, that's right, Prince. I was talking to Cecil today.
I was going to say he was at the ballpark. Yeah.
I was talking to him for about a half hour in the hotel today. What a pleasant conversation. But yeah, you're right, Prince Fielder. But they lost Martinez. And Martinez was a darn good clutch hitter for him from the 7th inning on, switch hitter. That's a big loss.
And it's weird, though, Lou, if they had not lost Martinez, they would not have spent that money on Fielder.
Exactly.
Here's Ramirez. The problem with the White Sox, they're in contention, and no one thought they would be. Are they going to spend the money to add the pieces? Now, they did take $2 million of Euclid's salary, which is not that much. But they're a little hesitant because they're not drawing anybody. No one's going to see that team because I guess everybody bought in that they wouldn't have a good year this year. And the attendance is way down. And
yeah, I think they were averaging like 22,000 a game or so.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, you get August, late August, September. If you're in a race, people start to show up, and Kevin Euclid is a great sign. They offensively at third base.
Ramirez hits one deep to center field. Granderson back, still back on the track. He makes the play in dead center for the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. One man left. In the bottom of the second, Mark Teixeira will start it off. go to text poll, and let's take a look at tonight's question. Which player from the Red Sox championship teams looked strangest in a different uniform? Here are your choices. Was it Pedro? Is it Papelbon, Manny, or Youkilis? You could text your vote to 42951. Standard text messaging rates apply.
I was going to say you can't even include Johnny Damon in there because he's worn about 8 of them.
That's right.
Well, my choice out of that group would be Papelbon.
He looks strange in a Philly uniform?
I think so.
Do you know that from the 2014, now that Youkilis is gone, only one player remains from the championship team?
Ortiz?
And that's Ortiz, yeah.
Big Poppy.
Having a great year. The White Sox do not shift for Teixeira as other teams do. Obviously, Ramirez is shaded up the middle, but he's not on the right side. Indians did that. Tampa Bay Rays kind of set the precedent with it. The 2-2. Strike 3. Teixeira down looking.
You see why you see why Axelrod can do what he's doing with the stuff that he has. I mean, so far he's been absolutely perfect. He's painting this ball right here. You give up on as a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, a little backdoor breaking ball. You got to stay with that pitch.
Lou, is this the type of pitcher that you have to see once around before you see whether they can hit him?
I think that's a good point, Michael. They've never seen him before. I think it takes one time around the lineup. One thing for sure, just watching him here early in the ball game, he's not overpowering as Paul has alluded to, so you basically have to protect the outside part of the plate a little more.
Yeah, I always thought when you faced a right-handed pitcher that really couldn't beat you inside, it was a much easier bat because you could, look out over the plate and not worry about covering that inside pitch.
2-0 on Swisher. Nick, 13 hits in his last 35 at bats. His average at 267. Swing and a miss on an off speed. Count 2-1.
He uses that slider almost like a cutter, kind of throws it in on the hands of left-handed hitters. That's really going to be the only pitch that he's going to try to use inside, probably, because his natural action on his fastball, if he tries to throw it in, is going to come out over the plate, and that's where you're going to get hurt.
Driven out to center field. Diaz is there for the second out.
Yeah, you almost get the feeling that this is kind of the calm before the second and third at bats off this guy, because that was a pitch that he missed with. A ball, kind of a curveball that hung out over the plate. Nick Swisher just kind of popped it up, but you got to feel like some of these guys are going to look forward to their second and third at bats tonight if Axelrod does not stay perfect.
Here's Ibanez.
Well, that last pitch that Swisher popped up. I mean, if you get on top of it, you can drive that ball right out of the ballpark.
Right.
Ibanez has done a nice job for the Yankees.
Yeah, he's had to do a lot more, of left field that they expected, obviously, with Gardner being out as long as he has. And he's done a good job. He'll catch the ball that he's supposed to catch. He's hit some big home runs for him.
Lou, you gave a good scouting report in spring training. While everyone was panicking, he was struggling. You said, don't pay attention until the end.
Well, when you're older, it takes a little longer, especially in spring training, to get your swing and your timing down. And you've got to give the veteran player every benefit of the doubt. Now, there comes a time and point sometime in July, if you're not getting it done, where you got to reassess things. But yeah, spring training is a fooler in a lot of ways.
I know as a manager you looked at players, and I'm looking back at when you had those great players in Seattle, and you would go and it was just put those guys in, let them get their at bats. But was there ever a time where a guy would show up and say, oh, he's lost something? Can you ever see that in spring training?
Fly ball, and Viciedo puts it away. We'll find the answer to that in just a moment. 2 innings in the book. There's no score. Beckham leads off in the third. Official hybrid of the New York Yankees. We go to the third. 0-0. Gordon Beckham leads off. And he drills one to center field. Granderson back, still back, and he'll put it away for the first out. One pitch, one out.
Well, Granderson gets really good reads on those balls, Paul. Those fly balls to center field.
This is one of those nights where we talked about where it's a little warm. You know, as an outfielder, as soon as that ball is hit, you're probably going to be backtracking. But as soon as you start seeing him square up on that ball, you know he's got a beat on it.
Lincoln scoreboard, 0-0. Here's Diaza, who led off with a single to left center, but was erased on a stolen base attempt.
Plays a shallower center field than I thought he would. He goes back well on the ball. If I were out in center field, I'd be about 6 or 7 steps back.
Well, you know, come to think of it, that was one of the best. Sammy Mejias, who used to help us in the outfield in Cincinnati, gave me some of the best advice as an outfielder, and he always told me.
There's a bunt. It's a beauty. Stewart fields and fires it into right field, but backing up nicely is Cano to hold it to a single.
Yeah, Robbie Cano did a great job there. You don't see, I mean, save that ball going over in the tarp. Stewart does all he can, wheels and throws. Oh, good throw had him, no doubt about it. But Robbie Cano, good job there, backing up. But back to Sammy Mejias in the outfield. His best advice was, as an outfielder, you got to know whether you go back on a baseball or come in on a baseball better, and you adjust your position. So you'll see deep guys that play deep, Swisher, guys that play shallow. Granderson, Swisher should come in on the ball better, where Granderson goes back on the ball better. If you could do neither, then you go to the infield. Right?
Either that or DH. Well, I was looking at the statistics, Michael, on the White Sox third baseman. They were last in just about every offensive category in the league.
Yeah, horrible production. That's a position you need to get some run production from. Wow.
And it was time for Youkilis probably to leave Boston. Will Middlebrooks, the youngster, was doing so well, and doesn't seem like he loved Bobby Valentine. And Valentine made a comment toward the end of spring training, which turned Dustin Pedroia on him, and then Valentine was in the tough situation of trying to get Middlebrooks, Youkilis, and Gonzalez in the lineup at the same time. And that was leading to some awkward defensive alignments with Adrian Gonzalez in right field when he's such a good first baseman. And then there was a period right before the trade where Youkilis didn't play in 3 straight games, and he said that nobody had told him what was going on. And Valentine said, I had told him. So it got a little sticky there, and then they ended up trading him. The 0-1. Driven out to center field. Again backtracking is Granderson. He'll put it away for the second out.
Kevin Youkilis hit that ball right on the nose. And there it is, Michael, the big trade.
And cash considerations. The White Sox sent Brent Lillibridge, who really is a good defender, outfield and infield, and Zach Stewart, not great prospects. And the Red Sox are picking up $5 million of the $7 million left for Youkilis. So for the White Sox, it's pretty much $2 million they're investing.
What does cash considerations mean? You throw a number out there and you consider it, or what are we talking about?
Well, since we know specifically what it was, but the way it's written is cash considerations. So the Red Sox are sending $5 million there.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I think the White Sox are going to get their money. You talked about it. I mean, offensively, I mean, here he has an opportunity to come to a team that's in first place and it's getting no production out of third base. Ouch.
Great play by Teixeira. Took away a hit from Dunn. No runs a hit, no errors in. One man left on base. Teixeira flashing his Gold Glove type play. Nice play at first. Chavez will lead off in the bottom of the inning. Deuce Paul Simon leads us to our New York State Smokers Quit Line quiz. Since Paul O'Neill's been trying to stump me, now we will stump him. Which 3 Simon and Garfunkel songs reached #1, Paul?
Well, I know one of them, and I'm going to get the other 2 before it comes out.
All right. We'll find out in the bottom of the inning. Eric Chavez will lead off. He's done a very good job spot starting. Yesterday he spot started at first. He got a big double to put the Yankees ahead 2-1. Lincoln scoreboard, no score in the bottom of the 3rd. And then picked up a big RBI later in the game. Tried to pull that outside pitch and grounds it to second. 1 away.
Well, Axelrod's doing a nice job so far of changing speeds and keeping these Yankee hitters off stride. But I think Paul's right. Second or third at bat, they get a chance to see him a couple times. It'll be a different story.
Base hit for Stewart.
Well, Stewart's been a nice acquisition. You know, when he was in San Francisco, the pitchers over there really liked throwing to him. Didn't hit much, but he's swinging the bat fairly well here for the Yankees, especially as of late.
Drove in a couple runs, and again, Louis, you know as a manager, when you have to put a guy in to give some guy a rest, and those guys can come through in those short opportunities, it helps teams so much throughout the year.
Well, your former teammate, Lou, probably gave him the best advice. Reggie Jackson told him, you should never take 3 pitches in at bat. He said, they don't want to throw this and that to you. They're going to come right after you. He said, jump on the first fastball and pull it.
That's pretty good advice.
I'll tell you one thing. You're looking up at that scoreboard, and it's 0-0, but there have been some balls hit hard by both sides here.
Derek Jeter grounds one to Alexi Ramirez. There's 1. There's 2. No, they didn't get. Oh, he beat it out at first base. So Derek hustling down the line. So there's just 2 outs, and he reaches on a field goal.
I'd like to see this.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see this because I thought he got him too.
Ooh, I think he did get him. I think you made the right call from up here, Michael.
Let's see.
Yeah,
they got him. First base umpire Tim Timmons said no, and that's the one that counts. Although Konerko didn't really argue.
Our cameraman was calling it in the background. Did you see that?
Did he?
Yeah. In the first replay.
Granderson walked and stole a base in the first inning.
You know, Paul, I wore the number 14 here all these years with the Yankees, and you like to see players that are nice and productive wear that number.
Oh, sure. It is weird. Every once in a while when I'm at home in Cincinnati, you forget, and all of a sudden you watch the game, and there goes somebody out there with your number.
Now, who's wearing your number?
A new kid, Frazier. Kid has done a good job since he's got here, too.
Nobody here yet. They tried once, and it wasn't very pleasant for LaTroy Hawkins. He quickly switched, realizing you don't mess with the O'Neill mojo.
Jinxed it.
There's a strike.
Well, Axelrod continues to work outside. He hasn't come in at all yet, except for that little slider.
Yeah, for the slider right in on the hands, and it's almost a pitch that he doesn't care if he throws for a strike or a ball, just to show you something inside so he can go back outside.
High fly ball. De Aza in right center will put it away for the final out. No runs to hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We're going to go to the 4th. Paul Konerko will lead it off. Sox battle of first-place teams. Yankees have always done well in the previous 3 years of Hope Week, and they're in the middle of Hope Week right now. And we are joined up in a booth by our colleague Meredith Morakovitz. You know everybody else. The good-looking one is Meredith, and then there's us. Meredith, today was a really lovely thing that the Yankees did. I mean, each day in Hope Week is so great, but tell us about what happened today.
It was fantastic. Day number 4 every day. I'm wondering how are they going to make it better than the next, but this one was really another fantastic event. We visited Glamour Gals, who were visiting the nursing home at East Haven here in the Bronx. And
Konerko lines one into left center, up against the wall. Granderson will get it in, so a leadoff double for Konerko.
And Rachel Doyle, who was just a sophomore when she lost her grandmother, decided to create this Glamour Gals. And over time, it's just kind of grown by leaps and bounds. It started off with just her. They now have 1,300 volunteers, as many as 62 chapters in 13 states. And they go there and they give the elderly manicures. They also spend time with them. They provide companionship. And these people really look forward to the Glamour Gals showing up and providing some entertainment. As you see, Nick Swisher singing there, and I had the chance to talk with a lot of the people there, and they just talked about how much they enjoyed the presence of the Glamour Gals and what it meant for them, and having the Yankees there. Some of the ladies that were there were big-time Yankees fans. I have to tell you, they were flirting a little bit with the players.
Really?
They were.
Good for them.
They really enjoyed themselves. They were giving hugs. They had a good time, and I sat with a group of guys, so I have to say hello to Ed, Eddie, Frank, and Lou. And Ed told me that he caught a Mickey Mantle ball, but he gave it to somebody, and he doesn't know where he put it in.
Well, that was a mistake.
But as you saw in that video, Nick Swisher was there. He actually did a manicure. David Robertson was there along with his wife, Erin. And Robertson was giving a manicure, and his hands were shaking. And I said, are you nervous? What's more nerve-wracking, this or the 8th inning? And he said, this by far. Do you see this brush? It's so little. How am I supposed to do this? But they were getting involved, and it ended with a cake. And Rachel Doyle was able to come here to the stadium, and the rest of the Glamour Gals were able to come here to the stadium for the game tonight. She threw out the first pitch.
That one is looped into right field. It's going to be a base hit. Konerko had to hold up to see if it fell in as he moves to third, so a base hit for Rios. Here is Rachel before the game. There she is on the left, and she received a proclamation from President Barack Obama. And then Nick Swisher and David Robertson and Brett Gardner came out. She threw out the first pitch. And as I was reading up on this, Meredith, the thing that struck me is that one of the people in the nursing home said, the Glamour Girls come in more than actually my son does. And, you know, when you're in a nursing home, you miss the human contact and the conversation. And what these young ladies do, it's just a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that they were able to be recognized by the Yankees and the players. That's
one of the things. The elderly are a segment of the population that are oftentimes forgotten. A lot of them are in nursing homes, whether they have families or not. They're not visited as much as maybe that individual would like. So it's some human contact. It's establishing them as still being a productive member of society, as people still wanting them there. And that's as important as the manicures. It's not just about the beauty aspect of things. It's spending time with people and sharing stories. And I spoke with several of the volunteers, and they said, you know, this isn't a one-sided thing. We get as much out of them as they get out of us. We listen to their stories, we learn from them, and we grow from them.
A.J. Przinsky at the plate, an 0-1 count. First and third, nobody out. And that's line foul. Sometimes in this country, and in other countries it's not like this, we ignore the elderly, and the elderly could teach us so much if we just listen. And that's why this is, it's good for both sides, the women that work on Glamour Girls and the elderly as well.
And it was interesting, Nick Swisher was talking to one lady in particular, Selma. She's 100 years old, and Selma was talking to Nick Swisher, telling him how much she enjoyed him doing her nails, and thank you so much for coming. She never thought she'd have the opportunity to meet a New York Yankee, and that was really the sentiment around everybody at the nursing home, just the unbelievable thought that the Yankees would take the time out of their schedule to come and visit them and do something so silly as give manicures, which I'm sure they don't do on a daily basis.
Here's the 0-2. I can't imagine a 100-year-old keeping up with Nick. I mean, did Nick call the woman bro or something like that?
No, he gave her a hug. It was unbelievable to see, and there's probably no better person. He has a tremendous amount of energy, and you know, he kind of lights up a room on his own, and it was infectious. It was really contagious. His smile, you saw everyone he was talking to smile. And there was another lady that I overheard him talking to who said she wasn't in this country for her entire life, but she knew the Yankees before she ever came to this country, and she wasn't sure exactly what they did or what they were about. It wasn't until she came here she realized, hey, they're a baseball team, and she's been rooting for them ever since. She lives in the Bronx.
And
obviously.
they watch these games religiously every night.
They really do.
Big part of their lives.
Baseball is company for elderly people because it's there every single day, and it's a 6-7 month proposition. So we hope they are listening tonight, and congratulations to the Glamour Girls and for being part of Hope Week as well. 1-2 count on A.J. Przinsky. Lined into center field. Coming on is Granderson, who'll make the catch. Tagging is Konerko, but he does not come. We talked about Granderson playing shallow. That helped him out, Lou.
It sure did. He read that line drive very, very well. He got himself in great position to throw the ball. And here's the throw. It could have been cut off. Konerko with not too much speed at third base and no outs wisely stayed. At third, now you got the double play situation. You can get out of an inning.
Meredith, we thank you for coming on. We'll hear from you in the postgame and another Hope Week story tomorrow.
Another good one. I can't tell you about it yet, though, because the people don't yet know. So I'll be happy to fill you in this time tomorrow.
Good job. Thanks, Meredith. Here is Diane Viciedo, first and third with one out. Now a double play would get Nova out of this inning. Nice backhand stab there by Stewart.
There have been a lot of balls, Paul, hit hard to center field tonight.
I tell you, that's just tough luck for Przinsky. I mean, he hit the ball right on the nose. Everything you want to do with a guy on third base. Granderson again coming in on a. Just don't take chances from a third base coach's standpoint. There's no outs.
Viciedo, 253, 13 homers and 34 ribbies. The 1-0. Right to Cano. Throws the first double play. Don't know where Rios was going. The ball's hit right in front of him. So a line drive 4-3 double play, and Nova works out of trouble without allowing a run. We go to the bottom of the fourth, and A-Rod will lead off. Quiz, which three Simon and Garfunkel songs reached #1, Paul?
Yeah, my for sure is Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Right.
Mrs. Robinson I'm going with from The Graduate.
Right.
And I'm also going with Sounds of Silence.
Now you look that up. That
I didn't look anything up.
Deep to center field off the bat of A-Rod, and it's up against the wall. And Alex will get himself a double to start off the fourth.
Does that mean I'm right?
You are dead right.
Wow. A little better than I thought.
And those are the answers that Paul cheated on and gave the answer to.
Did not. Lou, you talked about it earlier in the game. Would be a great time for Alex Rodriguez to get hot. And this is the type of pitcher that he can handle. Struck out on a slider his first time up. That same slider just hung up there a little bit. And as a hitter, you remember how pitchers get you out. So you kind of tend to look for certain things.
Yeah, the first at bat, he tried to pull it with 2 strikes. Second at bat, he had already seen the breaking ball, and he stayed with it and drove it off the left center field wall. Good piece of hitting.
Laced into left field, and right there is Viciedo as Cano hit it right on the screws, but right at the left fielder.
I tell you what, guys are just running to the on-deck circle to hit. Their balls are bullets from both sides, just at people. Robbie's hit 2 balls on the nose. He pulled one. He hit that ball to left. Nothing you can do as a hitter but go up there and put a good swing on, which he did.
Well, this is their second time through the order now, so they're getting a look at him. A booming double by A-Rod, and Cano lines out to left. Here's Teixeira, who struck out looking in the second.
Lou, we can laugh about it now when you're up in the booth, but you remember the times where, you know, you'd have 3 or 4 good at-bats, and you go back to the dugout every single time with a line drive at somebody, 0 for 4.
That poor helmet took a beating.
Yeah, a few of them.
Hey, Lou, what'd you think of the double play that ended the top of the fourth, the line drive right in front of Rios?
Well, it wasn't very good base running, obviously, by Rios. The ball was in front of him. So there's really no excuse to be doubled up on a play like that.
And it wasn't a tremendous play by Cano. It was right at him.
Right at him.
The 2-0. Grounded through the middle. Ramirez is there to get Teixeira as A-Rod will move to third. Here is that double play that ended the first and third 1-out jam.
Yeah, he didn't go off that far, but he got caught in no man's land. Quick throw by Cano, and he's out. That's a play right away that a base runner should read.
You know, if I look at that play right now, the mistake that I see is, you know, Rios just really didn't know where people were playing. Robbie was up the middle there, and you know, your job as a base runner, especially on second base, is to check where the outfielders are. You know, you get better jumps there because you know where the ball's heading, and it just looked like Rios got caught not knowing where Cano was playing.
Here's Swisher. I'm always curious about this, Lou. You're a manager. Now, you're obviously steamed that he did that. Do you address it right away, or do you wait till tomorrow?
Well, really, what you should do is wait till tomorrow.
And what would you do?
Depends on how we're playing.
Michael, let me tune you in here.
Go on, Paul.
I tell you one thing. Have you ever been called in the office in elementary school?
Yeah, sure.
It's not good. And when I used to get called in the office in Cincinnati Lou's office, it usually wasn't good.
Paul,
So it wasn't a compliment.
No, you know what? The funny thing is, though, as veteran players, Lou, and I'm sure you know this as a manager, I mean, veteran players know. Young players, young teams, you'll explain these things to them as a manager because you don't want to see it again. But you just don't expect it from a guy, you know, we're kind of picking on Rios here, but you don't expect it from a guy who's been in the league as long as he has.
Joe Torre used to always say he'd like to wait till the next day.
He's right.
He said, but when Derek Jeter would make a mistake, he'd come sit right next to him because he knew he made a mistake and he wanted to address it right away. Joe said,
well, you got to know your player.
Yeah,
you've got to know the players, obviously. You know, some players you can take a few more liberties with, and some of them will hang their head, and you've got to be a little more ginger. Now, you can't talk to the first base coach.
That's right.
And tell the coach, look, make sure you remind the players of such and such.
Ibanez takes a pitch low, 1-0. So the Yankees have runners on the corners with 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees 0 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. Now 2-0.
Axelrod has done a good job of just keeping everything just a tiny bit out of the zone, and he's hit that backdoor slider time and time again. But again, he's been perfect so far, but you just get the feeling it's a matter of time before somebody catches up to him.
You know, when he's missing down, which is good.
3-0.
What would you do here, Paul, if you were the manager? Would you let him swing 3-0?
You know what, a veteran hitter, I would.
Yes.
And Ibanez is, I mean, you're early in the game, you're not down. Absolutely. Again, letting him swing 3-0 doesn't mean he's going to swing. A lot of guys don't like to swing 3-0.
Bobby Mercer used to always tell us he hated to swing 3-0. He said, you get the same pitch on 3-1. He said,
most of the time you do.
Yeah.
And it really is. You know, your job as a hitter is to hit the ball hard. All of a sudden you get in a 3-0 count and you start thinking about home runs.
Bases loaded on that walk. That'll bring up Chavez.
Eric Chavez had such a good game yesterday. Made some good plays at first base. Got some big hits. Here he is in a situation where he's back at third base tonight.
Here's Don Cooper, the pitching coach. Very well-respected pitching coach. Comes out and talks with Axelrod.
Does a nice job. In fact, both the White Sox and the Yankees have excellent pitching coaches. Larry Rothschild, Cooper. And talking about Chavez, what a luxury for a manager to have a veteran player like that can play both third and first and give you a good professional at bat, rest your people, and still get production out of him.
That's good. He's had a good week. He had a pinch hit home run in Citi Field. He got a couple hits yesterday. You're right defensively. I mean, he won 6 consecutive Gold Gloves out in Oakland. So that was very interesting for the pitching coach there. Walking out, he could read his lips, and he basically said nothing hurt here. There's not been a run scored. You walked a guy, you still have an opportunity to get out of this inning.
Slow roller to third base. Youkilis charges. Fields fires. Got him. And that will do it as the Yankees leave the bases loaded. We've gone through 4. There are no runs on the board. It'll be Alexei Ramirez leading up the 5th.
Today's language lesson is brought to you by
some good young talent, and they've sacrificed defense a little bit. in order to get that offense in there.
Yeah, Pujols is starting to hit some home runs. They've gotten a little healthier, their pitching staff.
Those are two good teams in the West, the Texas Rangers and the LA Angels. Here's Alexi Ramirez against Ivan Nova. No score here in the 5th. Pitch inside, 1-0.
I tell you, Trumbo's for real. 19 dingers, followed up with a good sophomore year after a fairly good freshman year, rookie year. So I watched him play last year a little bit. I thought he had a few holes at home plate, but I'll tell you what, he's done a really nice job. A lot of power at all fields.
Breaking ball strike.
Possible strike. Counts. Weird pitch selection there. You saw a slider and a 2-0 count to the leadoff hitter. Now this is one of those at bats where you just feel like, you know, he hasn't thrown a strike yet in my mind, and I'm 2-2. I said he went.
Oh boy, I thought he held up there, Paul.
Like I said, he should be on first base right now, but it's 2-2.
Surprised he didn't chase that one.
Robin Ventura, he's one of those guys that just does not show a lot of emotion, even keel.
Fun-loving guy.
Yeah.
He played that way. Well, you played with him.
Very relaxed player. Unbelievable hands at third base.
Oh, what a play by Jeter. Took a base hit away from Ramirez. That was not a great at bat for Ramirez.
Got a little chuckle going back behind home plate. Boy, Jeter reads the ball off the bat so well. Great extension. What a career he's had.
Even in slow motion, it's a good play. Look at that.
Beckham takes a strike.
But when I managed against Ventura, we used to tell him before the ball game, we're going to get you out with 3 changeups tonight.
Do you believe you?
And then we try to throw the fastball by. I enjoyed Robin as a player. I never managed him, but I always enjoyed his style of play. And I'll tell you what, he gets a lot of credit for the way the White Sox are playing this year. He's got them playing hard. They're playing relaxed.
Well, if the White Sox went out and said, let's get somebody who's the complete opposite to Ozzie Guillen, they probably succeeded. Because he's very chill. He doesn't really stress it and doesn't put pressure on the players like that. And I think that's what they were looking for after the years of Ozzie. And 16 seasons as a big league player, 2-time All-Star, 6 Gold Gloves. He could pick it at third, 18 Grand Slams, tied with McCovey for the 5th most all time. And he was a surprise choice because he was literally sitting on his deck overlooking the Pacific Ocean.
I was going to say, is that the new thing? Because it kind of goes in cycles. For a while, it was all the broadcasters. Brenly and all those guys came down to be managers. And it's always been a catcher's thing. This year, you had 2 guys with no managing experience, with Matheny in St. Louis. And Robin Ventura, Mike, you said he was sitting on his couch, huh?
On the deck looking over the Pacific.
That's a good place to make a decision to come back. Right?
He said, you know what, I don't want people to think I was forced in. Kenny, he said, I thought about it. I did some work for the White Sox. He said, but I was very relaxed. And it wasn't in my plans right away. He said, they asked. I said, yeah, I'll do it.
You're probably in that tone, too, if you know it.
Yeah. He was actually a Yankee in 2002. And he was a real good addition to that clubhouse. He could still play and got big hits, and everybody liked him in the room.
Good chemistry guy, wasn't he, Michael?
Yeah, really good. Everybody liked him.
I used to really like his swing. He was short and quick and compact, and he lofted the ball to the full field.
He almost had that Charlie Lau look in his swing, you know, where he got to the ball quick and had that long extension past it. Michael, we got a chance to manage. Remember, man? That's a new thing
I'd
in
like to
baseball.
see that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really would.
With me or Michael?
Well, we'll start with you first.
I get to pick my players, I hope.
Oh, wow. That's something.
That come in the deal?
That's a luxury that you don't get as a manager.
That's what Bill Parcells always wanted. If I'm cooking the meal, I want to get the groceries.
Yeah, don't throw me out there with a bunch of scrubs, man.
Well, that's why it's rare what Matheny did. Usually you get a job, a manager's been fired. So it's not a good team, but Matheny took over a World Series team.
I'd like to see Paul in those post-game press conferences.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh.
That one is driven deep to right field. That ball is gone. See ya. Long home run for Diaza. And the White Sox now lead 1-0. His 5th home run of the year. Boy, that was some moonshot.
Yeah, some balls right off the bat, you know they're gone. Oh, we got the phantom throwback there. Nova, ball right down Broadway. Diaza turns on it. That's a leadoff hitter, folks. Hitting it off the facing of the upper deck.
Strike to Euclid. Not too many people go up there. That was right off the facing of the luxury boxes under the upper deck, and then it bounded back down into the second deck.
You know, the reason it's hard to go there is because the upper deck actually it hangs out over a little bit, so it's hard to get at that angle.
Oh, Cano had to play beautifully. Took a base hit away from Euclid. But the White Sox get a run on the Diaza home run. We're halfway through. White Sox up 1-0. Stewart, Jeter, and Granderson next. Which player from the Red Sox championship teams looked strangest in a different uniform? And here's how you vote it at 42,951. 38% think it's Kevin Euclid who looks weird because it's the newest one. Then 25% agree with Lou, Papelbon, then Ramirez, and then Pedro, I guess, didn't look that odd in a Met uniform. Stewart shows bunt, and they say it's a strike. So the count 0-2. So this will complete 2 times through the order for Axelrod. And then when Jeter comes up, that'll be the 3rd time he's seen him. Axelrod with a 1-0 lead on the Diaza home run.
Well, every time you say that, we talked about it yesterday. Dylan Axelrod. That sounds like a rock star out there.
It's perfect.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that goes with the music theme.
I'm going in the archives tomorrow. You got you get the whole truck help me with these things.
So you can't give me credit that I might know something.
You knew maybe a couple of them. That's
Not
it.
all of them.
No, absolutely
I
not
told
all
you the
of
one
them.
I didn't know. I didn't know Double Trouble.
I didn't either. I just threw it in there.
3-2. Hammered foul. Now, Lou, you ready for Old Timers Day on Sunday?
Looking forward to it.
You gonna take some hacks?
I'll take some hacks before the ball game, see how my swing is.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year, Jeff Nelson embarrassed me.
Grounded to third. One away. By the way, Old Timers Day is this Sunday, July 1st. It's the final home game before the All-Star break. They celebrate their 27 World Championships with Old Timers Day, the Yankees do. Come see your favorite Yankee legends, put on the pinstripes again, take the field at the stadium. Be sure to arrive early as ceremonies begin at approximately 11:15 a.m. with the Yankees game against the White Sox to follow. We'll come on the air at 11. How did he embarrass you, Lou?
Well, he grounded out the shortstop. He jammed me. I told him, I said, look, I was managing Seattle, but I didn't trade you to the Yankees then.
Nelly's one of those guys you could see that would still want to get you out, too.
I'm telling you. I mean, 82, 83 miles an hour right in on my hands. I'll
You
tell
made
what,
contact?
Yeah, I
That's
did.
good.
But you know what? I was upset for 2 days, you know?
Gave it a bat away, is that what you're saying?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I think he splintered it a little bit, too, yeah.
That one is drilled to left field. It's
I'll tell
caught
you
by
what,
Viciedo.
this game is to me, it's unbelievable. Guys are going up there having great at bats. Balls are all over the field right now, and they're just right at them.
Jeter is now 0 for 3. He shouldn't have been upset. He was traded from Seattle. It's a great town, but he got 4 World Series rings out
How
of it.
about that? How about that?
See, you needed Cone to pitch. Cone laid one right in for Tino Martinez at the perfect speed. He hit a home run.
Oh, I tell you, he did. He drilled it out over that short right field wall. Paul, you weren't here last year.
No, I haven't been here in a few years. I've been traveling around. I'm here this weekend. I hear it's going to be nice and hot, too. So.
You got a little pressure on you.
No, I don't, believe me. I'm not expecting much. I might pitch, matter of fact. I always wanted to pitch.
You did. You hurt your arm.
Yeah, I didn't come out too well. I was a stopper. You know, my first inning was good. My second inning was terrible.
Lou was managing then, right?
No, it was Pete Rose. That was right when I got called up.
He put you to pitch?
Oh, yeah. I was sitting on the bench by myself when we were down, I don't know, 15-1 or something. Asked if I'd ever pitched, and down in Atlanta, in the old Fulton County Stadium. First pitch I threw about hit Deion James right in the head. J.L. Murphy had a long hitting streak together, so I get him 3-0, and I'm hearing the crowd boo, so I lay one in there. He about takes my head off. Well, my pitching debut wasn't real good.
Base hit for Granderson. But you threw so many pitches, you actually hurt your arm, right?
My arm was not the same the rest of the year and into the middle of the next year. I was lucky. If I probably would have, looked at it at the time, I waited because I wasn't playing, and then we went into the winter, and I hurt it. And there's been a lot of guys that go out on that mound, and they screw their arm up. They're just not used to it.
Did you throw any breaking pitches?
I tried. Yeah. I tell you what, when they started hitting them back up the middle, I tried to mix it up a little bit.
That's it.
Here's Alex Rodriguez. He doubled his last time up. That one's drilled deep to left center field. The Ozzie going back, still back, and he can't make the play. It's off his glove. Granderson will score. Alex is at second, and the Yankees have tied the game at 1.
Well, amazingly enough, Diaz almost comes up with this ball. And a lot of times he will. He's a good center field. But again, this is a guy, that's a fastball, but Alex Rodriguez can handle it. And you see him kind of holding his breath. Such a good feeling as a hitter when you see that ball go off the glove. Went a long way. Actually got to the ball. Just didn't squeeze it.
He timed it perfectly. Yeah. Hit off the heel of the glove. He actually got up too high.
Yeah.
Well, talking to Kenny Williams, the White Sox general manager, before the ball game, he said that the White Sox outfield has really played well.
So the second double for A-Rod tonight, and he has not had nearly the doubles that you would expect him to have. So 2 tonight, and it's a tie game. Here is Cano.
That's a big out right there. I mean, it would have been a really good play, but with 2 outs, you had a, you know, he comes down with that ball, you're off the field with no runs scored. A long way for that ball. That's a big gap out there. 399 feet to left center.
You know, it's a little surprising here that the center fielder is playing Cano
left center
to left center a little bit, yeah. Which, as if I were a hitter, it's telling me they're not going to come in on me.
Right.
They're going to stay away from me.
You know, with this, I was surprised the first couple at bats they pitched to Cano in this situation with first base open. So far, this at bat, it looks like they're not going to give him much to hit. Wow. Good pitch to hit there. See, this is a 2-0 breaking ball, but it hangs out over the plate.
Yeah, good pitch to hit.
Again, as a hitter, and as good a hitter as Robbie is, you know, you've seen some guys pitch around you. First base is open. You're thinking in the back of your mind, is he pitching around me? And then, you know, you take a pitch like that.
That's a great point, Paul.
I think that, you know, when you're hitting third or fourth, I think these are the toughest at bats you can have, because the pitcher has the luxury of knowing if he walks you, it doesn't really matter. They're trying to play any kind of game. They're coming in off the plate. They get you off. They're going away. They're never going to give in at this point. It's a tough time to hit.
And the guys that do that job well are hitters that can hit deeper into the count.
The 2-2. How to make the seats.
And you see what Axelrod has done here is he got behind in the count, and then he kind of pitched backward. He got a slider, then he came off the plate in, got another strike, and now he's out of the zone again, and Robbie still swung at him.
Little changeup. He likes that backdoor breaking ball to the left-hand hitter. The curveball.
Yeah, I would think, you know, if you're going to go back to that, maybe 3-2, that you kind of have to get him off the plate.
Drilled into right center field. Diaz on the run. He's not going to get to that one. One hop up against the wall. A-Rod scores. Cano with an RBI double. The Yankees with a 2-1 lead.
That's just too good a pitch for Robbie Cano in that situation. I think that you have to set up a 3-2 pitch to get him out. He tried to throw a fastball, and he just does not have enough to throw the ball by Robbie Cano. This ball's right out over the plate. Absolute missile. And Lou, you brought it up. Diaz was in left center. Drilled this into right center.
Yeah, the catcher was sitting out over the plate, and you can see that ball had a lot of the plate. Look how he keeps his head down. What extension.
Great swing.
Just a great swing. Pretty to watch.
He's now tied with Earl Coombs with 309 doubles in Yankee history.
Michael, you didn't even call me and tell me he flew by me.
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because I know you get sensitive, yeah.
Yeah, I get sensitive, right.
Because you know what? It's not fair because he's played his whole career with the Yankees. I can't count your doubles as the Reds. That's why. So when he passes your total doubles number, I'll text you.
Do it. You know, hopefully I'll get that news like Robin Ventura sitting out on the deck looking at the ocean or something, right?
Well, unless there's something cataclysmic, I don't think the ocean comes through Cincinnati.
No. You know, that's the pitch, Lou, right there that I expected him to throw Robbie Cano 2-2, way in off the plate, and then you take your chance outside.
Make him chase a bad pitch away.
The 3-1. Grounded right side. Beckham is there, and that will do it. Yankees take the lead. 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 left. A double by A-Rod tied the score. That one is the outs that couldn't hold on. The outs had no chance at Cano's double that gave the Yankees a 2-1 lead.
Yes Network Yankee games on your PCs or laptop with Optimum Online. Get the remaining seasons of live Yankee games on the go for just $39.99. If you're an Optimum Online customer who watches Yes on IOTV, go to yesnetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now.
We go to the 6th inning. Yankees lead 2-1. And Adam Dunn leads off. Adam Dunn last year might have very well had the worst season of all time. And a lot of people say that it really was. He hit 159. That's a full season, 159.
That's hard to do.
It really is. That is hard to do.
11 homers and 42 ribbies after signing a big free agent deal with the White Sox. The previous year hit 38 and 103 for the Nationals.
He's a pretty good hitter in that National League for the Nationals and for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati, it's a home run ballpark. It was a perfect place for him to hit.
Paul, you would have loved hitting.
I tell you, that new ballpark is a
great America ballpark.
Yeah, great place to hit. And you're talking about Adam Dunn, and it's not like it would just happen at the end. It was all year. I mean, through June 28th last season. He came in tonight's game. Last season, he was hitting 173 with 7 home runs and 28 RBIs.
Wow. Now here's Konerko. We talked about Ventura, how it was out of the blue that they asked him to manage. The other thought process from Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, and Kenny Williams, was to have Konerko be the player manager.
Wow.
They have that much respect for him that they were going to ask him if Ventura turned it down to be the player manager.
Pretty cool. I tell you what, he's a good hitter, and if you watch him hit, he's really been struggling. We talked about it, but he's had a couple good at bats tonight. He never lunges. He has great balance, and he's strong enough where he doesn't really have to do anything other than just, you know, stride, pick up the ball, and swing. Been a good hitter his whole career, but I love the balance he has in his swing because there's not a lot of moving things.
Now, if you look at this guy, a lot of people say this. I want to get you guys' take. They say that, and he has 20 home runs, second most all time against the Yankees by a White Sox player. A lot of people think he could be right on the cusp of being a Hall of Famer.
I agree. I agree totally. I mean, it's been a resurgence later in his career with the batting average. He's always hit the ball for some power.
Fly ball center field.
And RBI production. But all of a sudden, this guy's here is a legit 300 hitter. And he's put up some very, very, very respectable numbers, and I think they warrant Hall of Fame consideration.
409 home runs in his career.
Amazing. And if you look at this, there's no direction really. He's not tipped or anything. Just waits to see the baseball. Just missed that. You see his reaction. He knows that. You talk about him struggling a little bit. He came into the game hitting in the 330s. He was up to close to 400,
right,
3 or 4 weeks ago.
Here's Rios.
You know, he doesn't have a long stride. He stays inside both legs very well, which keeps him balanced.
Well, his last 2 years, check this out. 2010, 312, 39 and 111. Last year, 300 even, 31 and 105. And he's an outstanding first baseman as well. And great in that clubhouse. So he's got a couple more years. Maybe he gets closer to the Hall of Fame numbers. Coming into this year, lifetime average of 282.
You know, and he's playing at the right ballpark, too. White Sox Park, a lot of home runs are hit there. Probably in the top 2 or 3, 4 in Major League Baseball. The ball carries well. It's not all that deep in the alleys, and I know that when I managed the Cubs and we went in there, a lot of home runs used to be hit in those series.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the weather. As soon as it turns warm and hot in Chicago, both those ballparks become kind of, home run ballparks. Early in the season, tough, but great hitters park in the middle of the summer.
Rios swings and misses. 2 away.
I used to like him when I managed over at Wrigley Field.
But with that slider out of the zone, and again, you can't stress it enough. If you can stay ahead of these guys, even good hitters like Rios, they will go outside the strike zone.
The illusion of the strike. As long as the ball is over the white cylinder or close to it, the hitter will bite. But I like him managing at Wrigley Field, like almost playing the British Open. I'm telling you, one day you're hitting 9 irons, and the next day you're hitting a driver on the same hole.
I tell you what, Lou, I was getting off out of the Westin Hotel, going down to the bus and picking up the first flag I could see. Is the wind blowing in or is the wind blowing out? And you talk about 2 different ballparks. They're the same place, but 2 different games, and wind blowing in, wind blowing out.
Chopper to second. Cano is there. And that'll do it here in the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Swisher, Ibanez, and Chavez coming up. First, to learn more, visit Kia.com. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. And by Chrysler, imported from Detroit. Not a full moon, but keeping its watchful eye over the proceedings here in the Bronx. Yankees lead 2-1, bottom of the 6th inning. Nick Swisher will lead it off. Dylan Axelrod's done a pretty good job. Gave up 2 runs in the 5th inning, but 2-1 game.
Michael, you look at that moon, and it's pretty cool. There's no doubt about it. And there's people that actually want to go there. Why?
Because it's pretty cool.
Why? I mean, there's no palm trees. There's nothing.
Well, why do people want to jump out of planes?
Because they don't have any sense. I mean, there's smart people that want to go to the moon.
No, there are no palm trees, Paul. So if somebody offered you a free trip up there, you'd say no.
I'd have to take a rain check on that one. Can you cash that ticket in?
I don't know. Now, Lou, I said in the previous inning about how they were considering Konerko player manager. Could that work?
I don't think so. I think it's just too much of a responsibility for a player to do his duties and then to make out a lineup, to handle the media.
Beckham takes a base hit away from Swisher.
Now, when I came, I got called up in 1985, a week before Pete Rose got his hit from AAA. Pete Rose was a player manager, and you know, I didn't know any better. But looking back at that, you know, the days that you are playing, you know, the days you don't play, sure, you're the manager, but the days you are playing, I think it would be a little overwhelming to do both.
And in 1985, the media wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
You've got so many responsibilities as far as pregame shows, postgame shows. You've got the meetings with the general manager. You've got the meetings with the owner. You've got the players. It's just too complicated today. I think you play, and if you're lucky and you get the opportunity, then you try your skills at managing. But I wouldn't advocate it. I certainly wouldn't ask anybody to do it.
It's interesting because I asked Robin Ventura, was this everything he expected? He says, I love this job from 7-10 on. He said, once the game starts, he said, I really do love managing. He said, but there's a lot of stuff before that you don't realize how much it is. And everything that Lou just said, dealing with the media, dealing with people in your front office, dealing with things that, you know, everybody needs something. He goes, and you have to deal with the players. He said, 7-10, it's great, but before that, it's tough.
You know, it's funny. I walked in the locker room and I cut through and I went in and made a trip into his thing. And he said, Paul, you would love this job. He said, I sleep at night. I don't go 0 for 4 or worry about it. I put guys in position. I make out a lineup. It's their job to go out and play. He said, as a manager, I don't take the game home with me like I did as a player.
How about that? Well, I take it home both ways, when I played and when I managed, which is not really good.
I'm surprised he said that because, Lou, you and I both lived it. Billy Martin managed, and it wore him down. From the beginning of when he showed up in spring training to the end of the year, he's like a different human being.
Different human being, no question.
Swing and a miss.
A slider. Axelrod has been really, really good. I mean, you almost hesitate to say it that he's pitched a good game. You just feel like something big might happen from the Yankees offense, but he's been good.
Chavez grounds one to Beckham, and that'll do it. So the Yankees go down in order 1-2-3. Pretty solid 6 innings for Dylan Axelrod. We're going to go to the 7th. Allowed just one run. He struck out 4. Paul, let's look at the K by K brought to you by Mazda.
Well, he's been on fire in June. He's been 3-0. And tonight, I don't think he's had his best stuff. He hadn't located his fastball. But you see some of these strikeouts out of the zone by staying ahead in the hitters. And again, he's giving the Yankees an opportunity, and he's winning 2-1.
All right, so we go to the 7th, and the Yankee starters have been giving them length, which keeps the bullpen strong. Here he is pitching into the 7th with just 80 pitches on the ledger. Viciedo swings at the first pitch and hits a fly ball to right field. Swisher in the corner at the wall. And he'll make the play for the first out. This has been a great month for Nova. He was undefeated in April, but a high ERA. Struggled a bit in May with an ERA close to 6, but look what he's done in June. 3-0 with a 1.27 ERA, and this is his final June start. So this is a month that he is going to remember. He's pitched great.
You know, when you're pitching hot and you're pitching confident, good things happen. I mean, he's had some opportunities to give up runs. He's had some breaks. He had a double play on a line drive. He's had some balls hit hard. He just hasn't had that pinpoint control with his fastball, but he's pitched well enough, again, to give the Yankees an opportunity to score him a couple runs and hold the lead.
Cadillac scoreboard, Yankees lead 2-1. The 1-0.
It's a nice, sharp breaking ball.
Yeah, good bite.
When you see the hitter genuflect a little bit, you know that that ball's got good tight spin.
Ground ball to second. 2 away here in the 7th. Follow the Yankees with the MLB.com @BAT12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at BAT to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details.
Do you understand all that stuff that you said? All the
not
texting
really.
and not really.
Beckham. High.
Well, Michael's been trying to get me to tweet for a while now.
You know what? I came in the first day. I did some kind of tweet. I don't know what I did. I asked some questions, and they ended up being tweets.
Right. A lot of people are asking for both of you guys to be on Twitter.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Lou, I think that's a good thing for you to do. As long a break as you take longer breaks than I do.
Well, I tell you what, I'm well rested.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of time to learn, that's for sure.
Wow.
Driven out to right field. That could be trouble. In the corner is Swisher, but it's a foul ball.
It sounded like a lot more. It came off the bat looking like it was heading for the seats. Beckham's an interesting story. Only spent 50-some days in the minor leagues, which is, you know, you look at what happens in the minor leagues, you really learn how to play baseball. You can come from high school or coming from college. I think he went to Georgia. And, you know, only 50-some days in the minor leagues, and he's come up here and done a good job in the major leagues.
He's had to learn to play up here.
That's not easy to do.
No, it's not. He struggled with the bat when he first came up.
Driven out to center field. Granderson is there in a 1-2-3 inning for Ivan Nova. He's pitched 7 innings, thrown just 88 pitches. At the end of 6.5 innings of play, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Yankees lead the White Sox 2-1, but we're going to stay right here.
Silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now, join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
Going to make Paul jealous. Time for the game summary, brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 2-5-0 for the Yanks, 1-5-0 for the Sox. Rodriguez and Cano back-to-back doubles to give the Yankees the lead. De Aza's solo home run into the second deck, or up against the facing of the luxury boxes. And Nova's been great. 88 pitches over 7 innings, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He leads 2-1. It looks good, right, Paul?
It's the way you ought to watch a baseball game, you know?
I'll tell you, yeah. Young man's having fun with that ice cream. You know, the White Sox, they would have been very, very pleased if they'd have known that this young man Axelrod would only be giving up 2 runs on 5 hits in 6 innings.
Got a piece of Przinski. Count 0-2 on Stewart.
This is an intimidating place to pitch, especially for a young pitcher.
And especially recently, the Yankees have been on a home run just brigade. This is day in and day out. They've been launching them out of here.
Here's the 0-2. Ramirez right there. And he gets Stewart for the first out. Cadillac scoreboard 2-1. Yankees lead bottom of the 7th. You might see 2 black triangles on the sleeve of the White Sox uniform. The top one is Hickman. Kevin Hickey, a longtime batting practice pitcher who passed away. And on the bottom, Yankee fans will appreciate that. That's Bill Moose Skowron. Such a great guy, worked for the White Sox. And Hickey's uniform hangs in the dugout, so they honor both of them on the sleeve. And Hickey's uniform is there.
What a gentleman the Moose was.
Really was. Always a smile, always great stories.
Great stories. I used to love to hear his stories at Old Timers days when he came over here to the stadium. What a hitter he was. Had great power to right center field.
The first time I met Moose, and you know the name, and then the first time I met him, I was like, wow, because he's not, Moose, you expect this huge guy. He's not that big.
No.
You know?
We're talking about Old Timers Day on Sunday, and it's a new generation of old timers. But Lou, when you played here, and then when you managed, you'd have Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and Whitey Ford changing in your office. I mean, it was unbelievable.
I look forward to that day all year. What a thrill and what a treat. And at that time, they would stay the whole ball game and talk.
Base hit up the middle for Jeter.
The stories and how they poked fun at each other, too. Joe D.
Mickey and Gator.
I look forward to seeing the Gator. Look at Yogi.
And that's the guy who kind of started it all.
Sure did.
Saved the game of baseball. Here's Granderson. And there's a strike.
Well, it looked a little bit out of the strike zone, Paul.
That base hit tied Cal Ripken Jr. on the all-time list. So Derek's now tied with Ripken at 13th, 31-84.
You think about it, that might be one of the guys that Derek really appreciates. I mean, that was his idol, coming up, Cal Ripken. A lot of times, I mean, you see Napa, Joy. I mean, you know these guys, but that doesn't mean as much because they weren't the guys you watched on television. I mean, Cal Ripken was one of Derek Jeter's idols of playing shortstop.
One of his contemporaries.
Well, Ripken actually kind of opened the door for shortstops like Jeter and A-Rod because you usually didn't have tall shortstops. And Ripken kind of broke that mold, showed that it could be done.
and you see it in the game so much now. I mean, great shortstops that are unbelievable hitters put up tremendous numbers. And in the old days, you know, shortstop, second basemen were guys that were good defensive players, didn't put up big numbers. I never understood it, because from Little League on, your shortstop was your best hitter, your best player. And all of a sudden you get to the big leagues and he was just a defensive position. So different part of the game, and there's some good shortstops. We had a quiz question yesterday. Sterling Castro, Asdrubal Cabrera was in here. I mean, there are some good shortstops in the game today.
2-2 count on Granderson. Jeter leads off first. You saw earlier Hector Santiago, one of the three lefties the White Sox have. He's warming up in the bullpen. Very balanced bullpen for Chicago. 3 lefties, 4 righties, and a manager loves that. Line drive.
That boy's got to make that play.
You know, that's 2 days in a row. Yesterday, Louis let one go right through his legs. He's having a tough week.
He took his eye off of it.
I don't think he's getting down on the ball. Yesterday.
Yeah. What's that? What do you call that? The Olay?
Yeah, I call it a 1 inch from taking one off your foot.
I put a little stickum in the glove.
Talk about managing and talking about the general manager and how much that, you know, you had conversations, and I always remembered your bullpens. I mean, that you had lefties, you had righties. I mean, is that one thing that you call as a manager, you know, this is what I want, this is what I need?
Well, you got to have it if you want to win, especially in postseason or at a high level. You need some balance on the bullpen, and you need some left-handers that can get some left-hand hitters out. And that bullpen that we had at Cincinnati, we won a world championship together.
I mean, they got hot
with Norman and Myers and
Rob Dibble.
Rob Dibble, my gosh.
And I've said it many times. At that time, I don't know if anybody. I mean, Randy Myers got all the accolades because he got all the saves, but I don't know anybody that was more dominant than Rob Dibble at that time.
Gosh.
Throwing 100 miles an hour with an awkward, just out of control motion, but just absolutely had great control.
Oh boy! And when he got his slider over, it was lights out.
And that's really, you know, that's what the game changes. People try to emulate the way people win. And it used to be, you know, a starter and a closer. Now it's another foul ball, and Derek was on the run again. Now it's, you know, the middle relief getting to the closer. Those are the championship teams that have solid bullpens that have a chance to win. And you remember back in the times that you played, and even when I was playing, I mean, if you got into the middle relief, you were beating up on teams.
No question. You know? Well, the great Yankee teams that I was fortunate to play on, we had Sparky Lyle, we had Goose Gossage, we had Dick Tidrow. I mean, guys that could really, really pitch.
Jeter goes again, 3-2, and another foul ball. So they're really making Axelrod work.
Gossage in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so.
The 9-pitch at bat so far.
Granderson looking at Jeter down there, trying to get him a little rest.
To get the ball in place, huh?
I'll tell you, the worst thing you can do as a runner is, you know, you've gone 3 or 4 times in a row, and then you go again, and you almost in the back of your mind expecting to foul it off again. And if he swings through it, you know, you're out by 20 feet. So you got to remember, you know, the manager has put some pressure on the hitter to put the ball in play.
Swing and a miss. Throw to second. And Jeter's out. They strike him out, throw him out, double play. And that is not the result they needed. No runs, a hit, no errors. And because of the double play, nobody left on base. Przinsky with a good throw to Ramirez. And he tags out Jeter for the final out. Then we'll go to the 8th and the top of the White Sox order. It's in FiOS quantum speed. Internet twice as fast as anything America has ever seen. Jose Quintana, well, look at his numbers, 2-1, 1.25 against Adam Warren. He'll make his major league debut on the mound at Yankee Stadium on a Friday night. Called up from AAA, and there he is sitting in the Yankee dugout. As the Yankees will try to make up for the double-barreled loss of their two left-handers, 40% of their rotation, and arguably their two top pitchers, CC Sabathia and Andy Pettitte. Sabathia probably going to miss 2 starts, and they might push his next start after that, after the All-Star break, to the back end of the rotation. Boone Logan getting ready. But I talked to Brian Cashman today. The Yankee GM said, you know, you say 6 weeks with Pettitte. That's before he could start throwing again. He said, if we get him back by September, you got to be happy. So that's a bad break with Andy Pettitte. The Hyundai scoreboard shows the Yankees up 2-1.
Andy was pitching so well, too.
There's a base hit to center field. Granderson cuts the ball off. A big turn for Diaza, but he'll head back. Good day for Diaza, huh? He's 4 for 4.
I was just going to say, he hasn't had a bad swing tonight. And you almost hope as a manager, Lou, that, you know, Diaza got thrown out stealing the first time up, and a lot of times as a base stealer, you kind of get gun shy to go again, but you've got to stick with your game. And, you know, if you need to get things going, close game, and you could swing the bat last time. But again, you don't want to take away your aggressiveness at the stolen base just because you've been thrown out once.
Well, Euclid puts the ball in play. I mean, there's always a possibility of a hit and run.
My thing here is, if I'm Diaza, I'm going to try to go along with the count with Nova and try to steal on a curveball. He's got a big curveball. He's got the ability to throw it in the dirt too. Gives you a much better chance to steal.
You know, usually a young manager doesn't play too aggressive late in the ball game. He lets the guys play a little more. Doesn't take as many chances, but we'll see how Ventura plays this.
So Joe McEwing, the third base coach here for the White Sox.
Back-to-back curveballs. You see Nova doing a good job of making Diaz stop and pausing. It makes it really difficult to get a good jump when pitchers hold you that long.
Holds the ball. Changes his release time to home plate. Doesn't take the big leg kick. You know, it's easier said than done, but that big hole between first and second is a good place for the hitter to try to shoot the ball.
Yankees really have Chavez playing close to the line at third, guarding against a double, but a single also is not a good result either, because that would put runners on first and second, maybe runners on first and third. They're opening up a big hole on that left side.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange defense in that they're bunched up the middle, and then they're guarding both lines, obviously with Teixeira at first base holding the runner. There's some big holes there between third and short and between first and second.
Usually you would see the third baseman play there in the ninth inning when you're up by one, somebody leading off, but you don't want to give up that single either. That could be a double play if you were playing off the line. But that's the choice they make. Swung on and missed. No, they'll say it's a foul ball. Diaz was moving to second, but the home plate umpire, Marty Foster, held his hands up, so it was a foul ball.
Usually your defenses are set by. Yeah, it hit Foster. Foul tipped it back. But your defenses are set by the advance scouts. And you've got charts. sitting on the bench over there. I'm sure the Yankees have charts on where Youkilis hits the ball, more prevalent. But I always liked the idea of not holding, or not playing for the double, playing for the double play.
1-2. Ball gets away from Stewart, throw to second, and Diaz is in there.
I was going to say that was probably a good time to steal. I mean, he went on because the ball was in the dirt and he got a good jump, but he had seen back-to-back fastballs. Anytime as a hitter you see a fastball up in the zone like he got before, it's usually backed up by a breaking ball.
Diaz kind of caught Stewart sleeping because Stewart was looking toward first base to ask for the check. See him pointing toward first, and then Diaz just took off. The ball didn't roll that far away from him.
Yeah, it sort of surprised Stewart.
See, he lost his footing when he threw that ball, and he got nothing on the throw.
The 2-2. Strike 3.
Good pitch. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here if this is Nova's last hitter.
I think you're right, Lou. Here comes Girardi with Boone Logan warming up.
Kind of a backed up slider, and Youkilis doesn't think it catches the inside corner.
Well, Nova's going to get a big hand, and he deserves it. The tying runs at second, one man out here in the 8th inning. He threw 98 pitches. Another very good performance by the young right-hander. It'll be Logan against Dunn when we get back. Tri-State area Volkswagen dealers. Visit VWDealer.com. By the Amazing Spider-Man in theaters July 3rd. And by Honda. Celebrate the summer with great deals at Honda's 4th of July sales event.
Jay Leno said that's the best Spider-Man yet, Michael. I heard it last night on TV.
Can't wait to see it. I like all of them. Call to the bullpen. Brought to you by AT&T. Boone Logan has had a really good year. 37 strikeouts in 27 and 2/3 innings. A 2-0 record. This is his 38th game.
Yeah, left-handers are only hitting 206 off of him. And Dunn's only hitting 160-something against lefties. So this is a good percentage move by Joe Girardi. Not that they work all the time, but a manager's job is to keep percentages on his side as much as possible.
All right, so the tying runs at second with one man out, top of the 8th. Yankees lead the White Sox 2-1. Dunn tonight, 2 walks. He's 0 for 1. Grounded out to first, his only time he put the ball in play. Yankees have Robinson Cano playing in short right field for Dunn. First pitch is a strike.
You know, this is almost an automatic because of those numbers. But, you know, looking back, he played for a lot of managers. Some managers, Joe Girardi, in my mind, plays to the numbers. And then you know, you look back at Joe Torre, kind of had gut feelings. And I always felt you played things by the gut, too.
I played things by the gut, but I knew the numbers too,
Yeah.
Paul. I mean, you know, numbers, especially if you have a history. Not 4 or 5 or 6 at bats, but if you have a history of 15, 20 at bats, there's a pattern that develops there.
In this day and age, with all the numbers that are stats and the papers have them, sometimes as a manager, if you don't make the move, then you have to answer the questions to them. You know,
After the ball game.
Yeah.
High fly ball, right center. Granderson is there. Tagging is Diaza. He'll go to third. So Logan gets done. Now does Girardi bring in Epley to face Konerko?
I would have to say yes.
And that's exactly what he does. So Logan comes on to get the one left-handed batter. And with Konerko and Rios coming up, that's 2 righties. So he is going to go for Epley against Konerko with the game on the line. T. And this time he brings in Cody Epley, who's been so effective against right-handers, and he's on to get Paul Konerko.
Now the amazing thing with numbers, and we're just talking numbers here, Konerko is hitting in the 270s against lefties and hitting 350 against righties.
Still got to play the numbers, though, right?
Yeah, look, you know what's amazing? The more you win, and the Yankees have been winning a lot lately, you can't use your main guys all the time. So these secondary pitchers, these role pitchers, have to get people out for you late in the ball game, and they become so valuable for you to sustain your winning ways.
Hey, Paul, you saw him yesterday. I don't think Soriano's going to close today. He looked fatigued yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't have much yesterday, but you know what? He had the guts to get out of that jam and get a save, but you're right. He did not have his good stuff.
And that's why I think we're not seeing Robertson here in the 8th, because he's going to pitch the 9th to close the game. And right now, you've got Clay Rapata, who's in there in case it gets to Przinsky. But Epley has Konerko and Rios right here. Runner at third base. That's the tying run. We're in the 8th. It's 2-1 Yanks. And Konerko gave a little bit on that one. Strike one.
Nice breaking ball. Started off the sequence.
Right. Epley and Rapata are just like, you know, just mirror images the other way. You got one lefty who throws sidearm and a righty who throws sidearm, and it's almost fun for Joe Girardi to match up this time of the game against righties and lefties with these guys.
That time he came with a fastball 0-2, so he goes ahead now. He can throw a couple of breaking balls off the plate and hope that Konerko fishes.
No problem with throwing those breaking balls where you're not intending to throw them for a strike with a man on third base, is you throw that ball in the dirt and give him a run.
Yeah, you hold on to him a little bit too long.
Diaza is at third. He's a tying run. The 0-2. 1 and 2, you have to have a lot of faith in your catcher.
He's doing a good job there. You saw him moving even before the pitch was thrown, knowing that that ball was supposed to be down and away. You see his body start to shift.
Good pitch.
Strike 3. So Epley comes on and gets the dangerous Konerko to strand the tying run at third. Just clipped the outside corner. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ivan Nova is the happiest of all.
Center stage. From the Super Bowl to the World Series, Buck chronicles his career in the booth, including his thoughts on why baseball is better when the Yankees are winning. It's a new center stage tonight after the postgame, only on Yes.
You know what's interesting about that? A lot of people on Twitter had asked me, you have to ask him why he hates the Yankees, because that's the general thought, because the national broadcast is against your team. And I asked him that question. You got to tune in to find out what he says. You see Hector Santiago comes on in relief of Dylan Axelrod. And those are the numbers on Santiago.
I think it's better when the Yankees win too, Michael. I've always felt that for about the last 20 years.
Hyundai scoreboard, 2-1 Yankees lead. Was that since 93, you thought?
Yeah.
That? Yeah. Alex fouls it back. Alex 2 for 3 tonight with 2 doubles.
We need a little tack-on run here, Michael.
It would help.
Yeah, Alex Rodriguez been swinging the bat well tonight. A couple good at bats, couple doubles.
Live arm Santiago throws a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. You mentioned something in the previous half inning, Paul, and I agree. Obviously, the Yankees would love to have Mariano, and then you have that formula of Soriano in the 7th, Robertson in the 8th. But I think there's a part of Joe Girardi likes the mixing and the matching because you could really manage.
Yeah, it's fun. It's I think that's. I said it last night. I think that's a strength. You see, Alex, he frustrated, swung through a pitch, got a pretty good pitch to hit. But if you look at his strength, it's managing the bullpen, and he's put together a bullpen he really likes this year because he can really match up lefty and righties. And in the past, you know, he's had to do it in different ways, but this year I think he's having more fun with the bullpen than he has because it was so automatic with Mariano. You know, you get to the 9th inning and you know you start going in to get the spread because the game was over.
Give me the automatic.
Yeah.
Here's Cano. Yankees have the lead because of Cano's double driving an A-Rod in the 5th. Yankees did their scoring in the 5th. In fact, all the scoring in this game came in the 5th. White Sox scored their run on the Diaz home run in the 5th, a monster shot to right, and then the Yankees, a single by Granderson with 2 outs, an A-Rod double, and a Cano double, and it's 2-1. That's where we stand, bottom of the 8th. 1-1.
Well, nobody's warming up in the Yankee bullpen, so Epley's going back out there. And he'll probably have Rapata for a left-hand hitter.
You would wonder why they go that route, not go with Robertson.
They've won with a lot of consistency, and you can overuse your people. So I mentioned that your role pitchers in that bullpen have to step up from time to time to give your big guys a much-needed rest. When you're not winning as often, they're pitching more, and your big guys are getting their rest.
Yeah. See Santiago. I mean, he kind of changes his arm angle against lefties. Good fastball there.
Boy, that was a live fastball.
96 miles an hour.
That's hard from a lefty. You don't see too many lefties in the mid-90s, and the White Sox have 2 of them. They have Thornton out there also. They throw mid-90s. You see Robbie have the ball thrown by him very often.
And you're right, Paul. It's a little bit of a violent delivery, and it's probably not too easy for a hitter to pick up.
A lot of things coming at you, and usually, you know, like I said, the lefties coming out of the bullpen are usually trick guys that, you know, will kind of throw a lot of breaking balls and try to drop down. Santiago has a live arm, throwing the ball in the mid-90s.
Not scared to come in on your hands, is he?
Throwing all fastballs so far, really hasn't featured anything else.
You can vote along with us for tonight's Chevy Player of the Game. Text your vote to 42951 and vote online at yesnetwork.com. Tonight's candidates are Ivan Nova, Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, Alejandro De Alza. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. That one's driven deep to left field. There's the tack-on run. See ya! Home run for Teixeira. Yankees lead 3-1.
See Santiago, and I don't care how hard you throw, every once in a while you've got to mix it up a little bit against these hitters. And Mark Teixeira saw 3 or 4 fastballs in this count and finally timed one up. The ball's supposed to be inside. Chances are you see Brzezinski reach outside. Give Teixeira an opportunity to get his arms extended and just hope the ball in the left field stands.
So that gives Girardi in the bullpen a little breathing room. And he has Rapata up. It's a little bit curious, though, because Robertson pitched just once in the 3 games against the Indians, and that was yesterday. And Joe's electing not to go with him to close. And we'll find out after the game. You got to stay tuned for the post-game show with Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry, and Meredith Marakovitz.
And I think he struck out the side yesterday, didn't he, in the 8th?
Check. I believe you might be right. No, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Yep.
That ain't bad.
That's what Meatloaf says.
Hey, I'm glad. There you go. See where you got it. Glad you didn't ask me, Lou, because I can't pull out my notes and check from yesterday. Huh?
Boy, that tack-on run is so important going into the 9th inning. It keeps the White Sox team from running, keeps them from hitting and running, keeps them from bunting.
High fly ball, right field. Rios is there, and that will do it. So the Yankees get that important insurance run. 1 run, 1 hit. The Teixeira home run. There it is. He goes yard. Count up in the 9th. Rios, Brzezinski, and Viciedo as the White Sox will try to come back. Last off the bat of Mark Teixeira, Paul.
Bottom in the 8th inning. You start with an open stance and you come into the ball. Fastball right over the middle. 13th home run. You're right, Michael. Want to freeze it when it hits the stands? Bam.
All right, so Cody Epley, who got the final out of the 8th, will face Rios here in the 9th. Yankees lead 3-1. Yankees looking for their 6th straight win.
This is a big out for Epley and the Yankees. With Brzezinski sitting there hitting left-handed.
Dwayne Wise, you just saw, took over at left for Ibanez.
This is also going to tell Joe Girardi, you know, who he can trust in big situations. I mean, these guys aren't used to throwing in the 9th inning in a close game. For some reason, those last 3 outs in that 9th inning become a little bit more difficult.
And Joe Girardi is going to have to go to Clay Rapata now with A.J. Brzezinski, who could hit the ball out. One swing could tie the game. So Rapata, the Yankees' 4th pitcher, as they're mixing and matching right here in the stadium. The action from this opener against the White Sox, plus Meredith Marakovitz gets the reaction from the clubhouse, including Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. So here's Clay Rapata. He's the specialist against left-handed batters, and he will face A.J. Brzezinski. And as they bring in Rapata, all of a sudden up in the bullpen was David Robertson. And the only thing that you could figure is that Joe was just trying to steal this game without using Robertson. He'd rather not, but in order to nail down the game, he will go to him. That broke Brzezinski's back, so he gets another to see Robertson throwing.
Joe's looking for here is a nice ground ball to second base double play.
You could double Brzezinski. He doesn't run that well. This chiropractic telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Clips the outside corner.
So, Lou, you're telling me when I was with the Yankees and you're in Seattle, we won a World Series together, right? You bring in a lefty and you're hoping I hit into a double play? That's what you're telling me?
I'm sure not hoping that you hit a double into the gap.
I was just checking at where we stood, you know?
I love you, Paul, but...
The 0-2.
There's it. Come on.
Right back to Rapata.
Oh.
And he throws it into center field. There was a double play you wanted, but he threw it into center field, and now the White Sox have runners on first and third and nobody out. Now he has to go to Robertson.
Almost a tailor-made double play ball.
You know, close games, big games like that. I mean, there's two good teams usually come down to plays made or not made, and that ball right there, you're right, could have been a double play.
So Rapata got the ground ball. He could not make the throw to start the 1-6-3. They have to turn to Robertson to close it out. The Bronx and battle of first place teams. Coverage start at 6 with batting practice, outing batting practice today in the Tri-State 4 pregame. Then Lou, Paul, and I are back to follow all the action only on Yes. So a potential double play ground ball thrown into center field, and the White Sox have the tying runs on base with nobody out in the 9th inning, and the Yankees go to David Robertson. Save situation for him. He was the closer when Mariano went down. Blew one, saved one, and then he got hurt. And while he was hurt, Soriano was about as good as anybody closing games. And when Robertson came back, he was setting up for Soriano again. And now he is trying to close this one out. White Sox can hit the ball out. Diane Visayado is up right now. He has 13, so they have 5 guys in double figures, and Gordon Beckham 1 away. Pitch is high.
Visayado, they talked about, has as much power or more power than Adam Dunn. This guy was a pitcher over in Cuba before he defected and ended up being an outfielder and a power guy. Tremendous power to all parts of the field.
High drive, left field, going back wise on the track at the wall. See ya! A 3-run home run for Visayado, and just like that, the White Sox have taken the lead.
Talked about his power, and most young guys that come over here, they can handle the fastball. This ball was a fastball up in the zone. Absolutely hammered it.
Wasn't an easy pitch to hit either. It was up in the letters. He got on top of it, just rolled it out of the ballpark.
Here's Alexi Ramirez. Pitch is low. Well, there's so many strange elements to this 9th inning, and here's how the White Sox reacted. So they are up 4-3.
You know, it's such a contrast to what we just saw, Michael, with the Indians, who could not score runs, who weren't confident as a team, going through tough times where, you know, the White Sox are hot right now. They expect to take the field and expect to win. And you knew going into the 9th inning that it was going to be tough to get 3 outs. And you gave them an extra out at this point. Big home run.
Actually gave them 2 extra outs.
Yep. And this is what set it up. A comebacker to Rapata, and he throws it into center field. Jeter couldn't even stop the ball. And that one from a double play to trouble. But Joe Girardi is going to have to answer some questions after the game. If you went to Robertson anyway, why not bring him in with a clean slate without anybody on base? And I'm sure Joe really just wanted to avoid using Robertson, but if you went to him anyway, that's the question he'll have to answer. Yankees can make it easier on him in the bottom of the 9th inning if they come back. Wow. Ramirez swings and misses. And the out is made at first. Addison Reed is the closer, and he is getting ready.
Addison Reed, a young guy, hard thrower, comes out of the bullpen. Did a good job for the Sox.
And if you look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, you've got Wise, Chavez, and Stewart. The bottom of the order coming up.
Boy, those 3-run homers bring smiles out in guys, don't they, Lou?
Well, I'll tell you, happy young man. But you're right, Paul. You know, he can hit that fastball. He didn't waste time either.
So the second blown save for David Robertson in 3 tries. And now just trying to keep it right here at 4-3.
This is really, Michael, if you look at it, kind of a double whammy, because you end up going to Robertson anyway, and now you've lost the lead, and he's throwing a lot of pitches. So
yep.
A lot is going bad here in the 9th inning for the Yankees.
That's why the first hitter, Rios, you get him out, he could have kept Epley out of the ball game. He'd have had the right-hander for Ramirez
and Viciato. Because the lefty Przinsky only could have made it 3-2 if he kept it Epley with nobody on for it. Popped up off the bat of Beckham. Cano puts it away for the second out.
You know, that closer's position is such a weird thing, because you can go through, you can go through a week without a situation where you have to pitch. Then all of a sudden, you play some close games, and Soriano just, has been in a lot. He's done a tremendous job. Yesterday, you saw him starting to tire, and you have to give him a day off, and it just comes about in a game that's a close game where you really needed him.
Piazza pops it up. Jeter is there. He'll make the play. But a rough inning for the Yankees. A 3-run home run by Viciato has given the White Sox a 4-3 lead. Can the Yankees come back in the bottom of the 9th? passes, they don the pinstripes and take the field once again. Complete coverage starts Sunday at 11, followed by the Yankees-White Sox game only on Yes. So the Yankees will have to face Addison Reed, the closer for the White Sox. And Reed being the closer is one of the reasons why everybody thought that the White Sox were just going to rebuild this year. They traded Sergio Santos, who they had signed to a long-term deal, to Toronto. They really didn't have a closer, but they turned it over to Reed, who saved 10 out of 11 games, 30 strikeouts in 27 innings, 24 hits and 11 walks.
Good power arm. Fastball in the mid to high 90s.
Tyler Flowers will take over for Przinski behind the plate. And Dwayne Wise will lead off against Reed.
A lot of people say that Reed kind of reminds him of Goose Gossage in his delivery, and I was anxious to see him pitch. I can see it now.
Yes.
Kind of that herky-jerky, but he's coming at you.
Miles an hour, a crowd of 44,041 here at the stadium on a Thursday evening. First game of this 4-game set, Yankees and the White Sox. First place in the East against first place in the Central. One and two.
He comes right at you. 95 right at the knees. Good pitch to hit.
White Sox bullpen's not been great this year. 12 blown saves. That's the most in the American League. 11th batting average against. ERA 3.87, which is 12th. Since Addison's become the closer, he's only blown one. Pitch outside.
Yeah, unlike the Cleveland Indians, who had done really well in one-run games. I mean, they've been outscored all year and still over 500. The White Sox in close games have not fared well this year, and a lot has to do with finding that right guy to close games.
And that's a good way to start it off with a single right field for Dwayne Wise.
I tell you what's important, Michael, is Dwayne Wise, he goes in for defense, right? All of a sudden, they come back and he's leading off the bottom of the 9th inning. You watch his swing here, fastball down the middle, and he turns on him. But you know what really helps a guy like this is the last couple of days he got starts. And, he got 8 or 9 at-bats, and now you're in a big game in a big situation. You've had some at-bats the last couple of days. It really helps you as a hitter.
Here's Eric Chavez. He could end it with one swing. 5 home runs on the year. On deck is Chris Stewart, the number 9 batter. Now Wise has speed. He thought about going and then stopped. Got good numbers, obviously, stolen base-wise, 6 for 6.
Most good base stealers in this day and age, the manager has them on their own, but there are times where you get that stop sign. You got to believe in the 9th inning, you're going to let some guys take a shot at hitting one out of here.
Chavez did not like that call.
At a lot of the plate.
That pitch is a lefty you kind of give up on, and it kind of runs back. It's got 2-seam action. Just up the corner.
Runner was going. Saturday night at Citi Field against John Roush, and that was the game winner. Goes the other way, just inside the left field foul pole.
But they reach fairly quick to home plate. Doesn't give you much of a late kick.
1-2 on Chavez. Wise leads off first. Bottom of the ninth inning, Yankees trail by 1.
Usually your backup catchers are defensive in nature. They usually throw well.
Nobody rooting harder than Clay Rapata. 1-2. 2-2. Runner goes. Served into left field. Viciedo is there. Wise is retreating. Here's the throw to first, and it gets past Konerko. Otherwise, he would have been doubled up. Now they're saying that he did not cross over at second base. They're going to appeal. And let's see what they say.
I watched that. He retagged.
He retagged. He got his feet tangled a little bit, but he did retag.
I was watching that play there, but you're right, Michael. On a good throw, he gets a good jump. But Lou, you brought it up earlier in the game. He doesn't know where the ball is. He never looked back.
Never found it.
He was out. A good throw from the left fielder, and he is out by 10 feet. Big break for the Yankees. We talk about his, the arms in the outfield. I mean, he has an absolute cannon. He was just off a little bit.
I think Konerko probably had a little time to come off the back. Yeah. Well, which he did.
It looked like that ball just hit the collar of the grass there, and it just shoots it by as a fielder.
Well, the Yankees are going to go to their bench. They are not going to stay with Chris Stewart. They'll bring up Andrew Jones to pinch hit. And what they're hoping for, Reed has a good fastball, and Andrew Jones could redirect the fastball.
Yeah, he's a good fastball hitter. You know, if they ran the Yankees with no outs, I would assume that they'll run here with 1 out if they get the opportunity.
It seems to me that Joe Girardi has left him on his own. And as a base stealer, you try to set up pitches, or you feel like you can get a jump, you go.
So count 0-2. Jeter's on deck. Yankees down by 1. Addison Reed deals right down the middle. Jones down looking.
You see that, and Andrew Jones, he is a good fastball hitter, but a lot of his at-bats come against lefties now. That's a good right-handed fastball right there. Right on the outside corner.
Probably sitting on a breaking ball. Pitch before was a breaking ball. With 2 strikes, it's kind of hard to guess.
Yeah.
So it comes down to Derek Jeter with Wise on first and 2 outs. Yankees led 2-1. They led 3-1 going into the 9th inning. They're trailing 4-3, bottom of the 9th. Pumping that fastball in there for a strike.
Here, if you're Wise and you're thinking about stealing, you're thinking, if I can get to second base, Derek Jeter's got a good chance of getting me in. Or you just hope he gets a hit and you get Granderson to the plate and get you all in. So And as a base stealer, you've got to get a feel of that pitcher, whether you can get a good jump or not.
That one's driven out to right field. Going back, Rios on the track. He makes the play up against the wall to end the game. So Jeter made a bid for a game-winning 2-run home run, and Rios caught it up against the wall for the final out of the game. So the White Sox breathed a sigh of relief. Viciedo could smile. His 3-run home run holds up, and Derek went the other way, which is his style, but just not far enough.